Hello, English 1B students. Now, it seems to me that after all of that Cyrano de Bergerac material, if I type something up, you'll hear my voice. Okay, we'll see. I'm hoping to catch up with great information with you, posted on your pages, in Canvas to you. I've been falling behind with tech and other issues. But I want to talk about Frankenstein a little bit. Frankenstein. Okay. Now, almost everybody in the class did excellent work, solid work, good work with the in class. Oh, sorry. It used to be an in class midterm, but remotely it's the take home, right? We did that take home midterm on Frankenstein. And I was also impressed by how most of you handled, like almost every single person handled, the reflective piece, the personal response to the reading piece. And I really appreciated reading those. Okay, I want to say a little bit about the upcoming Frankenstein research paper. Now, the research in this case happens in the Norton, unless for some reason you don't have a Norton. You lost it, you were sharing with a friend, and the friend isn't available to you because you guys are social distancing. Let me know, and I'll come up with an alternative research project which is of the equal difficulty. Okay. But the key thing about our Norton, right, is we have all those sections in the back, and I asked you to read a few pieces from it. And the first part is, right, in our Norton, after we have our actual text of the novel, we have context, right? We have what was going on before Mary Shelley in the sense of what she'd probably read, what was going on while she was working on the book, that sort of thing. And so you get some hints, you get some material. For example, it's important to look at, which we did. We talked about a little bit her intro to the 1831 because this is the writer reflecting on her own work. But here we have things under the context. The Richard Holmes piece I asked you to read, Mary Shelley and the Power of Contemporary Science. Again, for us looking back, it's just an old book about old science. But, if we're really trying to understand the achievement, the invention of science fiction writing, actually, it helps to put it into place. And we've talked about the clumsiness of of what we would see as the science with the make it big because it'll be easier, but cell structure is cell structure. But again, it's broken up into parts: circumstances, influence, composition, revision, reception, impact, adaptation. I mean, actually, these contemporary reviews when the book came out and what people said about it. I mean, that can be actually kind of interesting in terms of thinking about what the culture thought about it historically. Sources, influences, analogs. That's why I wanted you to read the material from Paradise Lost. As we've talked about, as you know, the creature reads Paradise Lost. What are some passages that might help? The same thing with the material from Byron or Charles Lamb that actually gets quoted in it. And then there's the criticism, essays about it, scholarly articles about it. And, I pointed you to a couple of those to look at just to get a taste. And so one thing I want to call your attention to here is, what I really would like you to do is look at this material. And maybe you're drawn to a contemporary review because you sort of want to follow through with the time travel that I've talked about to go back to 1818. And you might read that review and you might see, wow, they're focused on things that I'm not focused on. I mean, that's something that came up in that Anne K. Malore bit where she's talking about finding a text to teach. And she talks about the differences between the 1818 and the 1831. And she talks about the help, quote unquote, that Mary's more experienced writer, her husband, Percy, lent to her, and how Percy had this notion of like the figure of Victor himself, which was a little different than, say, Mary Shelley's. And that might be something that you find interesting when you reflect on what we get. Or other things, the idea of, there's an essay about the female in Frankenstein because, we have so few female figures and we have all these men running around. Or, looking at the monster Frankenstein in film. That might be something interesting to start from this essay and go somewhere. Or the reading monster. You know, there's an essay on what he reads, and we spend a little bit of time on that. Again, I think there's all sorts of material here. My cat just came by. That can be interesting. Now, I'm going to type this up as an assignment, and the idea is using this material and you finding something helpful in this material. Okay. I'm looking for your ability to tie the two things together, the novel and a helpful piece or two, and ways in which you can point out how it might be helpful to a future class. And frankly, I'm going to use what you guys come up with to help me make decisions about what I make people read in a future class. Okay. Okay. I will type this up and give you a sense of it. Here's my little cat trying to be a scholar. Okay. Normally she stays away from this, but this is Lady. Okay. All right. I'll type up more stuff. Thanks. I hope you guys are all doing well.